So welcome everybody to the journey. What I'd like to do is just give you a very quick rundown to orientation for all those newcomers to understand what we're going to be talking about here in the OHDSI community and how you all can get engaged. We start with our mission. OHDSI's mission is to improve health by empowering a community to collaboratively generate the evidence that promotes better health decisions and better care. And I start with this mission because really this is what's guiding all of those that you see who've already joined the journey to be part of this community where we're trying to work together to try to answer some of these core questions and make use of observational data to address these large health and public health needs. We talk about the journey on many forms. One of the journeys that you'll often see us talking about is the journey from data to evidence. And we recognize that that is a meandering journey that is quite difficult, and it's a journey that's something that's quite challenging to do it alone. And part of the reason we have our community is to support each other along the journey of going from data to evidence. The community that we are talking about is a collection of individuals. So it's important to realize that what you are joining here is a collection of researchers and scientists and patients and folks who are just generally interested in that community mission from all around the world. We've got active engagement in North America, in Europe, in the Asia Pacific regions. We have active engagement from government officials, from industry, from academia, from health systems. We have active engagement across multiple disciplines, including epidemiology, computer science, informatics, statistics, clinical sciences. Basically, anyone who is interested in our mission of trying to improve health by generating reliable evidence is welcome and encouraged to join this. And we currently have hundreds of researchers who have actively engaged and self-identified as calling themselves OHDSI collaborators, and thousands of researchers around the world who are actually part of this community and engaging in activities that are going on. What I would like to summarize, though, is when we talk about the community, there are lots of components to the community, and people are interested in different pieces. So I want to try to draw a little picture of how these can fit together. First and foremost, OHDSI is all about collaboration. We collaborate in multiple different ways, and a lot of these collaborations are highly interdependent on each other. We focus on open community data standards, specifically the development and maintenance of the OMOP Common Data Model as a platform for observational data. We collaborate on open source development, specifically the development of open source tools called the OHDSI Tools Kit, and you'll hear about the HDSI packages and other tools throughout this. But we have collaborators who are interested in developing and testing software. We collaborate in methodologic research, trying to establish scientific best practices. And we collaborate in clinical evidence generation, answering questions that matter to patients using data that's at our disposal. And we deliberately do these collaborations in a way that they can inform one another. When we identify best practices for methods research, we want to codify that into open source tools. When we develop data standards, we want to make sure that it's not just data standards for data standards' sake, but that those are accompanied with tools that can support that standard. And most importantly, we're trying to let questions that matter to patients drive all of our research agenda for methods research, open source development, and data standards. So there's a lot of collaborations going on. You'll also hear people refer to the OHDSI Data Network, and so I want to be very clear about what that means. Data partners are individuals who have access to patient-level observational data in some sort of source schema. And these are partners who have decided to adopt the OHDSI Data Open Community Data Standard. So that means ETLing their source data into a standardized instance of that patient-level data in the OMOP Common Data Model. But it also means adoption of standardized tools so that you're not just standardizing data for data's sake, but that you are actually have the ability to use that data to generate evidence. And the standardized tools and the OHDSI tools really go hand in hand with the OMOP CDM. Importantly, what the data network does not mean is that a data partner has to contribute patient-level data to any other individual or organization. This represented here, all of this is securely within a firewall, and we use the OHDSI data network as a distributed network. And what that means is that the collaborations that are within the OHDSI community to establish data standards can inform data partners as they go through the process of ETLing and standardizing their data. And the collaborations that involve open source development can inform tools that can be made accessible to each of these data partners. The OHDSI network is now over 130 data partners strong, but what that means is there are individuals and organizations who each have their own access to source data. They've each gone through the ETL process into the OMOP CDM, and they each are interested in using the OHDSI tools to generate evidence. They are not consolidating all of the data into one repository, nor is there any obligation to share any patient-level information. Rather, they are part of this community, a community focused on standardizing data, standardizing analytics, and making it possible to collaborate between individuals. Now, the last and very important component of the OHDSI community is OHDSI network studies. And the idea behind an OHDSI network study is that any individual or team of researchers can collaborate together to pre-specify an analysis that they would like to perform and offer up to the research community and the data partners to execute and generate results. And the way that that works is that protocol and analysis specification is made publicly available, and data partners have the opportunity to download those analyses, bring it securely inside their own firewall, and then have the opportunity to share back standardized analysis results. Now, these are summary aggregate statistics, not patient-level data. And the idea is that not only are we standardizing data and standardizing tools, but we are also standardizing in the consolidation of aggregate results into open repositories that can be made available for everybody to use. And once analyses are performed and aggregate summary statistics are generated, then together we can collaborate to interpret these aggregate results and then collaborate to disseminate the evidence the insights that we've generated and the evidence that we've produced. And so when we talk about OHDSI network studies, you can think about it that as the entire end-to-end process of starting with a good research question, going through the process of executing an analysis across willing participants in the data network, and then collaborating on interpreting the results and getting that result out into the hands of decision makers through various forms, including scientific publication. So this is a high-level summary of kind of what we do within the OHDSI community. Encourage you to post more questions on the pollev.com/PatrickRyan800. What we're going to do now is have Craig show you where all of these components actually live within the OHDSI ecosystem.